Hi everyone, I'm going to go over LeetCode problem 2810, faulty keyboard. And the problem is stated as follows. Your laptop keyboard is faulty and whenever you type a character I on it, it reverses the string that you have written. Typing other characters works as expected. You are given a 0 index string S and you type each character of S using your faulty keyboard. Return the final string that will be present on your laptop screen. So essentially, to understand this problem, let's take a look at this example, right? The input is a string that's also literally called string, and the output is a string with the characters R, T, S, and G. How do you get this output string? Well, first, when you type the character S, it's S. When you type the character T, it's T. When you type the character R, is R, STR. But when you type the character I, this is the faulty key. This is the one that whenever you type it, it reverses the string RTS, but you don't include the character I in the return string. STR becomes RTS, but you do not include the character I in the return string. Then you keep typing. You have N and then you have G. So the return string is R, T, S, and G. They give you a second example pointer with double I's and it returns PONTER. And this makes sense because the double reverse, whenever you have this I, it reverses the string. And the I and the I operations, they cancel each other out such that you return PONTER. Basically, whenever you type the character I, it reverses the string that you have written so far. So let's start with take a look at this problem right here. We should always start with the constraints. I like to actually write them out every time myself. 1 is less than or equal to s.length, which is less than or equal to 100. Then you have s consists of lowercase English letters. And then you have s of 0 does not equal I. So you know that the first character in the string is not a reverse operation from the faulty keyboard. So what's the topic? I generally like to take a look at the topic too. The topic or the problem solving approach that you use to solve this problem. And I originally thought this was an array problem, but after going through the problem for a few times, I know that this is a string problem. This is a string. It also tells you right here string as well as simulation problem, right? This is a string simulation problem. And so now we can start designing our approach or algorithm. So the first is to loop through all the characters C of the string S. For each C, check that C does not equal I. Actually, but the first step you should do is, I always forget this, define a return string. Check that C does not equal I. If true, then add C to the return string. If C equals I instead, we found the C equals I, then reverse the return string, but do not add C to the return string. And if I'm not mistaken, the last step will be to return the return string. Okay, so let me do it. Answer. I won't call it answer anymore. I'll call it result equals a string for C in S if C equals I. If C equals I, actually that's not the first thing we should check. If C does not equal I, then result plus or equals C. Else if C equals I, then we reverse the return string. So res equals res, and this is how you reverse the string quickly in Python. That's the syntax. : -1. And if I'm not mistaken, you can just return the result. Let me see if I made any errors. Nope. Let me submit. Okay, this is good. And the last thing I always like to check is the time complexity, right? This is obviously an O of n time complexity because you have to loop through all the characters of the string. And this is also a space complexity of O of n also because you have to define a new return string that has to extend all the way up to n. You know, it could return the worst case scenario is O of n. So that is how you deal with this problem. 2810 faulty keyboard. It's an easy problem, but it's a good practice problem, a good string practice problem. So thank you very much, everyone.